Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to film today's video because I'm talking about one of my favorite topics, eyeshadow palettes. I love eyeshadow palettes and I love drugstore makeup, but for a while, for years, I felt like it was really difficult to find high quality eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore. There were some out there and there were some hidden gems, and some brands did do eyeshadow formulas really well, but for the most part, I would usually look to the high-end brands to get a really good palette. Eyeshadows at the drugstore have come such a long way, and there are so many amazing options, and you really don't have to spend a lot of money to get high quality shadows anymore. So today I wanted to share 10 different eyeshadow palettes and formulas under $10 that I love, that I think are such great options if you're looking to try a formula for an affordable price point. So let me start with a few newer eyeshadow palette releases. Essence actually released these 6-pan eyeshadow palettes not too long ago. They retail for $3.99 each. So I'm going to link everything that I talk about in the description box below because a few of these palettes come in different color stories, and I might not have every single one to share with you guys in today's video. But honestly, I tried one of these and I was blown away by the quality, so I actually picked up a few more of them the other day when I was at Ulta Beauty. I didn't have super high hopes for these when they were first released because I haven't had a lot of luck with eyeshadow palettes from Essence in the past, but these are so good. I like the fact that they are very small and compact, so if you're someone who doesn't like to reach into a super large eyeshadow palette to do your eyeshadow every single day, these mini palettes are nice because you can definitely create quite a few looks with just the 6 shadows. The formula is really nice in these palettes. The matte shadows are very blendable, super easy to work with, and the metallic shadows are so soft and creamy. They look really smooth on the eyes, and they actually do feel like high-end shadows in my opinion. They're really, really great. So if you've been thinking about trying these, I definitely recommend them. They're a little bit newer. They're sold online at Ulta Beauty, but I also saw them in my Ulta Beauty store last time I was there. A few of the colors were sold out because I think people are catching on to how good these are. So I definitely recommend checking them out. They're $3.99, super affordable. I've been talking about these a lot on my channel, but I was just so blown away by the quality. They actually kind of inspired this video because it just reminded me that you don't have to spend a ton of money to get amazing quality. These are the Catrice 5-in-a-box mini eyeshadow palettes. These retail for $6, and they kind of look like Natasha Denona palettes. I think they were probably designed to be a dupe, and I have to say this is the closest dupe to Natasha Denona's formula that I've tried. Not only does the outer packaging look similar to Natasha Denona, the formula of these shadows comes very, very close. The metallic formula more than the matte formula. The matte formula is good. It's definitely blendable. It's pretty pigmented, but not quite as pigmented as Natasha Denona, but it does come close. The metallic shadows feel like spot-on dupes. They're so smooth and creamy. They just glide onto the eyes with your finger, and they stay in place really well throughout the day. These palettes lean a little bit more neutral than the Essence palette, so if you're someone who creates a neutral eye look every single day, one of these mini palettes will be perfect for you because you can get a complete look out of this. You can do something a little bit softer or something a little bit more smoky toned. And again, they're $6. They're really good. One thing I want to mention is these are formulated with rose oil. I think that's probably the reason why they are so smooth and creamy, but some of you guys have mentioned that you are sensitive to that ingredient. So I just wanted to point that out in case that's the case for you as well. For me, it doesn't cause any sort of sensitivity, but I know everyone's different. I really love Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. I have for years. The color stories are gorgeous. The formulas are amazing. But recently they released these little quads. There are 4 of them. And I picked up this one. This one is the Rebel Army quad. It comes with 4 really beautiful green toned eyeshadows. And if you've been wanting to try out Juvia's Place or you're looking to add a specific color story to your collection, they have a mint one, they have a warm toned one, they have like a cool toned silvery taupe one, and then this green one. These will be a great way to add just a pop of color to your collection with an amazing formula. The matte shadows are so rich and pigmented. The metallic shadows look amazing on the eyes, and I'm just really in love with the fact that they did these smaller quads because $10 is such a great price point. Now, if you want to spend a little bit more, they have other eyeshadow palettes that are gorgeous as well, but if you're just looking for a smaller compact quad and you want to try the formula, these are a great option. While we are on the topic of eyeshadow quads, there are 2 other eyeshadow quads that I wanted to recommend in today's video. I've talked about these a lot on my channel, but since I'm doing a roundup on all of my favorites, I wanted to mention them again. ColourPop Quads have been my go-to this year. They have a bunch of different layouts. They do like 9 pans, 12 pans. They even have really large 30-pan palettes, but I've been loving these quads because I feel like you get the perfect amount of shadow to create just like an easy go-to everyday look. I am wearing one on my eyes today, so today today I'm wearing this one. This is the Cream Soda Quad. I just have the deepest brown blended into my crease, the lighter shade as a highlight, and then the shimmers all over the lid. And I just feel like it's so simple and easy to use. Again, there are days where I just don't want to put a lot of thought into my eyeshadow, and these make it super simple. You can buy a quad that goes with kind of your everyday style, whether you do something a little bit softer or something a little bit more smoky or even something a little bit more colorful. These matte shadows are some of the most blendable shadows that I've tried. They're pretty powdery, so just keep that in mind. I typically just do my eyes first when I use them, but they blend out in seconds. And then the metallic shadows are really pretty because they're kind of like extra sparkly, a little bit more eye-catching than other metallics I've tried. I think some of these actually have a duochrome in them, some of these quads, but these are really good. The only thing I want to mention about these is the shadows are very soft, which makes them easy to work with, but if you throw them in your makeup bag, there is a chance they'll kind of crumble and break. I've had that happen to a couple of mine. So I probably wouldn't recommend them for travel for that reason alone. I did use one of these on my sister for her wedding day. I used the Sorbet palette, and it looked so good on her. I threw it into my makeup bag and it was fine. There's no crumbling. Actually, there is a little bit of a chunk missing out of one of the shadows. So yeah, I stand by what I said. They're very, very sensitive, really soft. So just be careful if you're throwing them in a makeup bag. But if you're just leaving them at home to do your makeup, they're really nice. The last eyeshadow palette quads I wanted to mention in today's video are the e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palettes. These have been out for a little while, I think almost 2 years at this point, but I love them. I've raved about them ever since they launched them because I was just so impressed by the quality, and I still use them all the time. I think that these are such a nice option, and these are $3. I think they're actually the most affordable eyeshadow palettes I'm mentioning in today's video. Again, I will say that this formula can be a little bit crumbly. I've had these in my collection for a while, but I have one right here, like that shimmer shadow is kind of breaking apart. I'm not necessarily super gentle on my makeup. I don't necessarily throw my products around or purposefully like try to break them or be rough with them, but I do kind of throw things in makeup bags or trays as I'm filming YouTube videos and kind of move them from room to room if I'm taking photos for videos or Instagram. So all of that to say, my products do kind of move around more than someone who might just sit down and do their makeup every day. But if you're someone who is traveling from like home to work or doing your makeup as you commute, that's something I just wanted to point out. They're a little bit more of a formula that needs to be built up rather than having super intense pigmentation right away. But that could actually be more ideal for you if you're someone who does prefer a softer look or you want to softly build things up rather than going in and having a really intense look right away. The metallic shadows in here are really pretty. I typically apply them with my finger. They just glide on the eyes really well. So again, my con is that they are crumbly. These do tend to break on me, and the packaging is pretty cheap, but they're $3 eyeshadow palettes. If you don't want to spend a lot of money and you still want a really good formula, these are a really nice option. I hope they release more. They haven't done any new ones since they did the Mint Melt collection. Now, if you're looking for the best quality under $10, I definitely recommend checking out the JCat Beauty palettes. These are $8 palettes, and if you put these in high-end packaging, I wouldn't question it. These actually feel like high-end eyeshadows, and you get a really good amount of variety within each palette. So each palette comes with 15 different shadows. In these ones specifically, you get a row of mattes, a row of really pretty intense foiled metallics, and then also a row of shimmers. All of the shadows in here perform well, but the standout formula is definitely that center metallic foiled row. In fact, I would say that that center row is like my favorite shimmer formula, even over Natasha Denona. I love Natasha Denona shadows, but these foiled metallics are so creamy and they look amazing on the eyes. If you want to transform your look and take it to the next level, you have to try one of these palettes. They look so good. A lot of the time when I'm doing my makeup and I feel like my eyeshadow palette isn't giving me what I need, it's not cutting it, I'll reach for one of these and take any one of the shimmer shadows and place it on top, and it just completes the look. I've said it time and time again, but I cannot comprehend how they charge $8 for these, and then there are high-end brands out there charging like $50 for a mediocre formula. So definitely save your money. Purchase one of these. You will not be disappointed. They have some really pretty color stories. They do have a few neutral palettes, but they also have some brighter, colorful palettes as well. I would say this LA Girl Keep It Playful palette feels very similar to the JCat Beauty palettes in terms of formula. These come with 9 shadows. There are 3 different color stories. I do want to try the other ones because I really enjoy this one. So again, the matte shadows are a little bit thinner. They're more of a buildable formula than a super intense pigmented formula. I would say that they feel very close to the e.l.f. bite-sized palettes or the Profusion palettes, which I'll talk about in a second. But again, these shimmers in here are really nice. There are a couple of different finishes within this palette, so you kind of get like a really pretty softer shimmer, more of an intense metallic, and then also a foiled shadow as well. I like this one because you get 9 options, so I feel like with 9 shadows you can do a little bit more than you can with a quad. You can get something softer, more medium toned, or more smoky as well, and this is just an easy formula to work with. Again, LA Girl is a brand that's quickly becoming one of my favorites, and I'm glad that I picked up this palette. They have larger palettes that are over $10 that are really good as well, but if you're looking for one under the $10 price point, this 9-pan palette is really great. Another 9-pan palette that I do really love is this one from Makeup Revolution. I actually haven't tried a lot of Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palettes. I know they have a ton of options, but it's just a brand that I feel like overwhelms me a little bit when it comes to their eyeshadow palettes because they have so many. So if you guys have any recommendations, I would love to know, but I did purchase this Ultimate Nudes shadow palette in dark. I believe they have a light, medium, and dark one. I purchased the dark one just because I liked the color story. I will say it looks a lot different in person than it does online. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to decide on a certain color story. This performs well. I would say the formula is similar to the LA Girl formula. They're not as thin as the LA Girl formula, so I feel like they build up a little bit easier. And the metallic formula looks nice on the eyes too. It's not necessarily like a super standout metallic formula. Like it doesn't give you a foiled finish, and there aren't, you know, duochromes in here. Nothing too unique, but it's a good staple formula. It's something you can rely on to give you a really nice look every single time. It's very smooth. It stays in place really well on the eyes. Again, I think I have a Get Ready With Me using this, so I'll link it in the description box below. But this one is nice. I would definitely try more of their eyeshadow palettes in the future. I think that this one is just small and compact. I also love the color story because you get some typical neutral shadows, but you also get pinks and purples. So you can do so many different looks with this one palette. You could just go in with the neutrals or just the pinks or just the purples, or do some different color combinations including all 3 of those color stories. So I'm really impressed by this 9-pan palette. It's definitely a good option for under $10. Of course, I have to recommend the Profusion eyeshadow palettes. These are $5 and you get such a good amount of product in here. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're someone who just buys one palette and uses it up completely, these are going to last you such a long time for $5. Again, they do have some larger palettes available as well, but I like Profusion because they have a variety. They have colorful shadows, neutral shadows, and it's just a nice buildable formula. In the past, I've really been someone who's preferred really intense pigmented shadows, but over the past year, I've really come to appreciate a softer, lighter, buildable formula because there are days when I just want a really subtle look, and this is the type of formula that is perfect for those days. They're not over-the-top metallics, they're not foiled, they just give you like a light, soft satin finish. So if subtle eyeshadow is what you're going for, I think you'll really appreciate this formula. So I have their Classics palette, which has a mix of mattes and shimmers, which I do like. I used to have one of their really large palettes that had colorful tones as well, and that was a nice option too. And then I also have their mattes palette, which the reason why I like this one is because sometimes when I'm using really intense pigmented shadows, they don't blend as well as I want them to. So when that's the case, I might reach into this palette and choose like a lighter coordinating shade and just use it to lightly blend out the edges. And because this is such a lightweight, soft, blendable formula, it helps me to blend out that harsh shadow without adding too much color or pigment. So again, I really like this formula for everyday wear when I want a little bit of a softer, more subtle eyeshadow look. I recently picked up the NYX Ultimate Edit palette. This one is in warm neutrals. It comes with 6 really nice staple shadows that are great for everyday wear. They have a couple of different color stories available. This one obviously comes with warm neutral shadows. You get 4 matte shadows and then 2 shimmers. The shimmers are a little bit softer. They give you just kind of like a light sheen on the eyes, which is really nice for everyday wear or if you like something a little bit more subtle. And the matte shadows are nice too because they are more of a buildable formula, but I would say they have more pigmentation than like the Profusion shadows. So you can do something a little bit softer or you can build them up to get a little bit more of a smoky look. But I think this is such a nice curated everyday palette. It's not too large, so you aren't going to be overwhelmed when you use it, but you can get a couple of different looks out of it. And I just think the formula is such a great option. I think these are maybe $7, so definitely on the more affordable side, and they have a couple of different options to choose from too. Okay guys, that is everything I wanted to share with you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope today's video was helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed it, let me know. Maybe I can do this series with other categories in my makeup collection as well. But I would love to hear from you. If you know of any just good affordable palettes at the drugstore, let us know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys very soon with a new video on my channel. Bye.